Okay, tonight I want to talk about the Hydra deck. It's a new deck from Von Zos. The illustrator is Eva Redamonti. She's a New York-based illustrator. I really like her work. I really like a lot of the work that's in this deck. This is a majors only release for the time being. There is a full version coming out at some point. I did check with Von Zos to see if that was definitely happening, and it seems like it is. They are fully planning to do one. They don't have a ETA yet. They will be coming out with that. If you follow Eva Redamonti on her Instagram account, she's been doing a lot of posts on the progress of the miners and the different suits as she's going through them, and it looks really great. I'm excited. I'm definitely looking forward to a full version of this deck coming out. This was released now as just a majors only. I'm not a huge fan generally of majors only decks unless they have a lot to offer that are new, but I felt like with this one I wanted to pick it up because, one, I really liked the artwork. I think it's an interesting approach. I love the coloring on this deck. I like the idea of a lot of the imagery. There's some really nice cards in this, and I just wanted to help support this artist. So, and if it takes, buying the majors only version for the full deck to come out eventually, then I will back that one if it's a project that I really like. So, you can buy this now on Von Zos' site. I do recommend it. It does not come with a tuck box or anything, which was a little disappointing. It is just shrink wrapped when you get it. They did tell me when I reached out just with a couple questions that when they do the full release, there will be an option to buy just the miners with tuck box so that you can take these cards and they'll fit in the tuck box with those, which I think is a great. At least they're giving that option down the road, which would be nice. Again, no ETA on when that deck's coming out, but hopefully we don't have to wait too long. But I just wanted to kind of go through this deck a little bit, highlight the cards, just do a quick walkthrough, and we could talk about some of the interesting things in here. The cards themselves, it's a good quality. This is the company that put out the Mio-M Tarot, which is honestly one of my favorite tarot decks. I use it all the time. It's a great quality deck. This similar quality, although I do have a slight printing issue on one of the cards. I don't know if it's throughout the whole print run or if it's just my deck or not. I haven't seen anybody else post about this deck yet, but so I'm curious to know if you have this deck. Please let me know. It's on the world card. I'll show you when I get to it. It's minor. It's very. I'm being nitpicky. So let me talk about the quality really quick. So this is a nice linen cardstock. Let me see if I can get. Yeah, you could probably see that. So it's really nice and bouncy. It's beautiful. I love the printing. I love the color of the ink it's used. It's this nice, like, indigo type color, on this, like, creamy cardstock. Really like it. Just looks really good. This is the Fool card. I don't know if it's... There we go. You'll notice on a lot of cards there's a lot of duality that's happening in this deck. In a lot of the imagery, I'm curious as to why I'm hoping that some of this will come through more when I use the deck more than I have. I've only had it a couple days. But I really like the imagery. There's a nice playfulness, but also just a creepiness. I mean, it's got this carnival type feel, like, you know, you can see with the legs and like the happy face and stuff, but also this like creepy folkloric element that I really, really like. This card echoes a card that we'll talk about when I get to it in an interesting way, and I'm curious to the reasoning, but I really hope that there's a guidebook or something that comes out with this deck, because would just love to know the thoughts behind some of the imagery and you know, what the artist's take on these cards is. So let's continue through. Here's the Magician card, really nice. High Priestess, I think, is a really, really great take on this. It's an interesting choice. Curious as to the move away from the idea of water, even though there is a flowing element to this, but then you have these roots that are growing. It's interesting. It's an interesting take. I really do like this card, though. The Empress, to me, this is like one of the most carnival feeling cards. I like it. It's great. It's a great deck. Great cards. Here's the Emperor. Yeah, here's the Hierophant. I really, really, really like the approach here. I love the idea of the Hierophant as an owl. Generally, this is not one of my favorite cards in decks. Usually, I just don't usually get a good feel, but I feel like this one will read very differently for me, and I'm happy to see that. This is the card that really made me go, okay, I really need to pick this up. This Lovers card, I feel, is one of the best takes on Lovers. Probably in all the decks in my collection. I just love this card. I love everything about it. There's just, in my opinion, nothing wrong with this card. This is a perfect card. I just think is an interesting card. I'm curious about the viewing angle. There's a lot going on this card. I feel like there's a lot more going on this card than in a lot of the other cards. It's a curious one to me. I still need to process this one. Here's the Strength. I love this Hermit card. It's another really nice take on the idea of the Hermit. Wheel of Fortune is interesting to me. This card in particular has a very sad feel to it. Most other decks tend to lean probably a little too positive feeling. I think this one leans maybe a little bit too negative. That balance is missing, but I think it's also a good reminder. You know, that there's good and bad. The Justice card. Really nice take on this again. Here's the Hanged Man. Which I really love this. I love the bats. Just a really interesting take on this card. Here's the death card. Now this was the card that I was referencing when I was talking about the Fool. I found it interesting that the Fool card had two people, and it's interesting to me that the death card is also of two people, two death characters, riding on a two-headed horse. Again, another card that I feel like I need to process more, but I really do like it, and I feel like it will add a lot to reading. I think it's an interesting approach. Here's the Temperance card, which I think is also an amazing card. It's, again, another one of the cards in this deck that is just really playing on that duality. Love to know the thinking behind this artwork, because I think it's fascinating. Please do a guidebook. Just the Devil card. Interesting, has a bit of a reversal energy there that you can go with. Just the Tower. This I thought was an interesting card. Some interesting ideas in it, and I'm curious to see how this reads when I use the deck more. Here's a fairly traditional take on the Star. I do like it. I think it plays well with this deck. I think the Moon card is amazing. All the elements are there of your traditional Moon card, but there's such this overall sadness, and that's like a theme throughout the deck, I feel, but it really works. There's Sun card, which again is another card that I generally am never a huge fan of, but I really like the approach in this, even though it's got some of the more traditional ideas, like the sunflower and the rays of the sun and everything. It works really well. I really like this card. Here's Judgment. Another very busy card in a very different way. This one feels a lot more organic in its busyness than the Chariot did. But yeah, this is an interesting card. I do really like it. There's a lot going on in there. And here's the World card, which I really like. This is a great approach to the World card. I think it says everything it needs to say in it. I think it's a really nice card, a really nice take on it. This is the card that I said had a small printing error. If I can get it to focus. You can see there's like an extra line running here. It's clearly just like some kind of printing error. But I don't know if this is just on my deck or if it's the whole print run or not. Maybe it's just cut slightly off. I'm not sure. But so that's the Hydra deck. It's, as I said, it's a major only release for the time being. It's available right now through Vonzos' website. Yeah, I really like a lot of what that company puts out. Like I said, I love the MIOM Tarot deck. It's one of my favorites. This has the potential to be one of my favorites as well, especially once the full deck is out. I need to spend more time with it now, but I don't generally like to do real readings or full readings with a majors only deck, I'll probably just tend to use this for maybe some like real quick 1 or 2 card pulls. We'll see. I'm not sure how I'm going to use this deck yet. We'll have to see when the full version comes out. But highly recommend it. Like I said, just be aware that this does not come in a box. It just comes shrink wrapped, which I think probably could have been dealt with a little bit better. But it's a stopgap until the full deck comes out. So I understand that. Look forward to it. So I will have the links below. Follow Eva Redamonti on Instagram. Like I said, she puts up a lot of progress shots of the cards that she's working on. So you get a real good sneak peek at what's coming for the full deck. And it looks really good. All right. Thank you.